Good morning and welcome to this edition of Tank Time. I'm happy to report that all my fish have come through treatment, all but one tetra and one clown loach, maybe a couple other fish, but all my fish are ick free. There's no flashing. This is day 2 post treatment. And today I'd like to talk about some important things concerning ick. How to prevent it, how to treat it, and what it is. First, let's talk about what it is. Ick is a protozoan, which means it's a single-celled parasite. It's a single-celled critter. It has 3 distinct stages in his life cycle. The first and most noticeable one is the white spots on your fish. These are called trophozoites, and that's the active feeding stage of the ick. Now, as they feed, the fish builds a little cyst around each organism. And so they're safe from any kind of treatment at this stage. They're pretty bulletproof. So after about 2 days, anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks, depending on water temperature, these things fall off and go into the gravel. Now there, they start to replicate and become something called tophonts. And they'll replicate in your gravel for anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks, depending on your water temperature. And then they'll burst forth as tomites, which swim out into the water column as free-swimming ciliates. Now these are what infect your fish. This is what, they're like little mosquitoes. They'll bite your fish, and your fish will flash. And like the next day, once it gets a foothold, it becomes a trophozoite. Now this is the only treatable stage of the life cycle, is the tomite. It's exposed. So let's talk about let's talk prevention next. I did a dumb thing. I bought a plant. The plant was in some fish. Here's the plant right here. The plant was in with some fish. And I bought it, and I thought, oh, it has a healthy root system, it's nice and bushy, I'll stick it in my plant, or in my planted aquarium, and it'll really add. It added. About the following week, I went back there, and the tank was marked quarantine. Oops. So it's not only fish that you have to worry about introducing into your tank, but anything. Any piece of furniture from another tank, any plant from another tank, anything that's been in with fish. Because if the fish have ick, those tomots can stick to furniture, they can stick to plants, and so can those little tomites for a little while at least. So that's how it got in here. So always quarantine your fish for at least, most people say, a month. Just because there's more than just ick out there, and you really want to make sure that there's a lot of lag time between the end of ick and the introduction of the new fish into your tank. Always quarantine your plants, or find a way to dip them if they're healthier and hardier, like these Anubias here, can take a bleach dipping if you're careful and you know the right amount of bleach to dip them in. You can introduce them that day, but I'd still just quarantine them just to be safe. Okay, let's talk about treatment. Well, there's my way. You can use high heat, because not only does it speed up the life cycle of the ick, but I believe at 86.5 it inhibits reinfection by termites of new fish, and it also inhibits their replication process. And at 89.5 degrees Fahrenheit, the damn thing dies outright. And I'm not going to swear to it or not, but I believe all three stages are killed by that high temperature. But I'm going to back off that and be conservative and say that the termites for sure are killed off. So the important thing to remember is that the termites need anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to find a host before they die. The tophonts need anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks to complete their life cycle. They'll be in their gravel. If you have goldfish or cold water fish like goldfish, koi, it's not feasible to raise your temperature that high. If you have cooler water fish like danios and guppies and things, you can't really go to 89.5 either. You can probably go to 84 and treat. You can treat with salt, which kills the termites. You can treat with medicines for cooler water fish. You can raise the temperature a little to speed up the life cycle, but not too much as to kill the fish. In my tough tropicals here, I went to 86. I went to 88 for 2 weeks, or 12 days, then to 86 for 2 more. And now, 2 days later, I'm at 82.6. I'm subtherapeutic, and my fish are fine. You can use product, you can use copper, salt, and heat together for some fish. Scaleless fish like loaches and catfish don't like salt or copper. Invertebrates will die outright from copper. So that might not be for you either. It's definitely not for me. So that's about all there is about ick. Some people say it's always in your tank, and it's like a cold. Once your fish get stressed out, they catch it. And others say it has to be introduced. Well, both schools might be right. Fish do tend to build up a resistance to ick, but once a new strain is introduced by an improperly quarantined fish, they tend to break out again. New fish introduced to a tank that has had ick tend to break out, whereas the incumbent inhabitants do not, because they're already built up resistance to ick. So that's what I know. I can only beg of you, quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. And with that, I'm going to show you something very nice. My water lilies have really enjoyed the heat. I can't do it justice because I can't take the whole hood off, but there are 20 leaves on this thing now. I'm waiting for it to blossom. Oh man, that'll make my day. But this whole penthouse is glorious. It's full of hornwort and elodea and gourami. I love it. It's gotten so big that I've had to move the filter to the left side of the tank to accommodate the dwarf water lily, who immediately took a hold to the surface of the water. That got very calm. There's Mitch. Okay, with that, I wish everybody good health, safety, and lots of hobbies. Stay safe, stay well, and stay home.